Hey guys, last month I had my 5 years on T. I can't believe it. I think I say that in every one of my videos, but every time a year goes by, it's like I don't know what happened to time. It goes so fast. Um, and I just recently went back to look at my old videos from the very beginning, and it's really unbelievable how much I've changed. I mean, 5 years, people think, wow, 5 years is a long time. It's been transitioning, but I still think I'm changing. Uh, and I don't think I'm at my final place yet. I mean, I'm still waiting on lots of facial hair to come in around here, but it could be genetic. It might just be that I'm not going to get it, or when I'm older, it'll fill in. I guess I want to talk about my journey of accepting myself and my body and the different stages I went through in the course of 5 years. Because there's a lot of mental, emotional changes and hardships you have to go through. In the beginning, before I ever started hormones, I was confident in my girl form. I was I identified as a lesbian. I was a very confident lesbian, and my height, being 5'1", didn't bother me. I used to love it. And then once I started hormones, I started transitioning, changed my name. Things that I used to like about myself, I started to slowly dislike, and it became a big insecurity for me. Uh, it seemed that as a female, I was okay being short, being skinny, but as a man, it in society you're not supposed to be short and small. And I always thought that testosterone would cure all my insecurities, but for me, it honestly only made more insecurities. And that's something that I think is very common because you start to analyze little things about yourself that aren't changing exactly to your liking or things you can't fix. And I think that's the first shocker is that, wow, being on hormones is great, but I'm learning about all these other negative things in society that to be a man, you have to be a certain way. And slowly over time, that might disappear because you learn to accept yourself. Uh, and I'm still working on that. But there's definitely a lot of things that I've become more confident with since transition and happy with. And I mean, the height is still something I'm working on, but more recently, I've learned to accept myself as a trans man. Not, I'm not going to fit into the form of a biological man that society has put. Myself, I'm okay with being a trans man. I'm aware I'm not a biological man and I'm not going to pretend to be. I don't go around telling people I'm trans, but personally, here in my house, in my home with my friends, with my wife, I'm a trans man. I have a vagina. I used to be a girl. And that's not something to be ashamed of. And that's something I had to learn through transition as well. That it's okay to admit it. I don't have to lie. I don't have to pretend. I can be comfortable with the fact that I've still got a vagina. And that's a big thing I think for any trans man to accept that I'm never going to be a biological man. Uh, I'm never going to have a biological penis. I can't make children. My sex life will never be exactly how I want it to be. But I've come to terms with those things. And I think finally at this point in my life I can say I'm comfortable with my body and who I've become. And that's something I hope all trans men come to terms with because I felt like I was kind of mourning the loss of what I could never be. Uh, I craved so bad that biological man figure, uh, having a penis, having sex exactly how it's supposed to be in society. Over the course of 5 years, I've come to terms with that, and I'm very confident now in my marriage and in myself. That doesn't mean that when I go out, I'm still not comparing myself to biological guys and wishing I was taller. That I don't think that'll ever change. But it's all just a journey of self acceptance, and it's a long ass journey. I mean, it's hard. And something else I always say is that I always wish I could tell people just starting out or just young people still in high school that everything you're going through now won't matter in a few years. When you get a little older, you'll realize all of your worries and concerns now are not going to matter. High school sucks. That it's terrible, especially for people like us. And all the bullies you deal with, all the shitty people, the fact that you can't get a boyfriend or girlfriend, nobody likes you, that doesn't matter. When you're older, you meet incredible people. You meet mature people, people who are also in the community. You have a place to be. High school is a torture chamber, and that's it. So if you're in a rough spot and you think you can't possibly see a future for yourself with your current situation, it's wrong. I don't care who you are, it's wrong. You will have a future, you can make a future, and it's really just up to you to keep your head up and keep going. Just keep pushing through because it's all bullshit. And it just it won't matter. 4 years ago, before I met Kat, I didn't expect to be married in my own house, have three of my own dogs, and a life, a real life with love and friends and family and everyone who supports me. I made a life for myself that I'm proud of, and that could be anyone. So just keep that in mind if you're just starting out your transition and you think you're never going to get to be where you want to be. It's not true because I was in that place too, and now I'm in a whole completely different place. I hope this all made sense and that I'm not just babbling. Uh, but that's something I'm very passionate about is never to lose hope, regardless of what's going on in your life. There can always be a future. And this is something I've learned. It took me a long time to learn. I mean, I have cystic fibrosis, Crohn's disease, and diabetes I was recently diagnosed with. I don't know how long I have to live. That's just a reality. But regardless of that situation, I rose up, I thought positive, I made a life for myself. You can control your happiness to a certain extent. And I'll just keep saying no matter what situation you're in, there is hope for happiness. And it all starts with you. Now, I guess I'll stop with the serious stuff and talk about my physical changes. Because I really like to see the change from my first videos to now, so I'll probably put little clips in between.
So I want to kind of make this a comparison video. So like, this is my voice, obviously.
First thing, as I always talk about my beard, that's just a joke. And this will always be my favorite change in my whole transition.
My face.
I remember in my old videos, I used to show my stomach and my back and stuff, but I'll just do some of it so I can compare. So my chest, I talk about my scars a lot. I mean, they are getting lighter. They're still pretty big, but definitely lighter. And I have way more chest hair. I mean, I had none when I started, so yeah, I got pretty hairy. I definitely filled out a lot. I definitely gained weight. It's yeah. Yeah, I was only about 95 pounds when I started my transition, and I I went up to 130, but then I lost some weight, so now I'm to 125, and I think that's perfect for my height. I mean, I'm only 5'1". Um, yeah, so I mean, I pretty much gained 30 pounds on hormones, so definitely makes you gain weight. But for me, that was a good thing because I was tiny. Um, yeah, so guess that's about it. I hope this video made sense and it wasn't just me babbling. 5 years. It's crazy. Thanks for watching, guys.